Hello, welcome to this month's Bible study.
My name's Shantae, and I've just been noticing a whole bunch of manifestation-related verses getting quoted here and there, and I thought it would be fun to collect and put them all in one place. Okay. The verses we're studying this month are so fun. All right. It's a couple of verses. We're looking at Mark 11:22 through 26. And part of the reason why it's so fun is because in this whole chapter they are trying to understand how manifestation works. And then in the verse itself, Jesus is explaining, this is the one about the faith moving mountains. And he explains the order and procedure in which people move mountains. We also go over authority and how to prepare for prayer, which could also be visualization and other manifestation technique. We even discuss some possible interpretations for what forgiveness means and how that works when consciousness is creating and our reality is reflected back to us, because everything's a mirror. I'll go ahead and start us out by reading the verses. And Jesus answering saith unto them, Have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. And when ye stand praying, forgive, if ye have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses. But if ye do not forgive, neither will your Father, which is in heaven, forgive your trespasses. So, let's go into the context. Jesus has recently appointed his 12 apostles, and then it says that he comes triumphantly into Jerusalem. Specifically, he came unto Bethpage and Bethany, and at the Mount of Olives. So that's where this chapter takes place. So, he is starting to get recognition from people, and one thing that happens is they take off their garments and put it on the ground and want him to walk across it with a horse. He borrows the horse, and actually what happens is he tells two of his apostles to go and borrow the horse that they're going to find just around the way. And he says, if anybody sees you, then tell them that the Lord is the one that's borrowing the horse, and they'll give you permission. And it worked out just like that. It worked out for them. So here they are, and the people are worshiping, and what they're saying is, Hosanna, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. In verses 9 and 10, the people are saying Hosanna. And the translation of Hosanna is, please help us. So it's the before tense, as if you don't have what you need yet. Please help us. And they are wise enough to say, he that cometh in the name of the Lord. And So the chapter goes on, and there's a story with a fig tree where Jesus is hungry and he sees a fig tree and walks over to it, and it's not even the time of year when fig trees are supposed to be bearing fruit. The story would have made a little bit more sense in my mind if Jesus was upset with the tree when it was the right time. So it's a little confusing. But what happens in the chapter is Jesus finds the tree. He's unsatisfied with the fact that there's no fruit, and he curses it, and he says, "You will not bear fruit in the future either. Nobody will ever eat your fruit." And that's that. So then they go on with the day, and then there's another adventure wherein they come to the temple. And at the gates of the temple, there's a whole bunch of people making money off of it. They're selling doves, which doves are there for sacrifices, and they're also doing money exchange, like basically converting money into a different form of money. And so Jesus sees this and he feels like it's inappropriate. The temple is here for everybody to be able to use,
to come and pray.
and it's here to have it be a clean slate where you can, we're getting to understand what prayer is, and we want it to be clean and pure and an empty vase, and not something that they're just turning around and trying to make cash off of. So he gets mad, he's moving the tables, and he is just in charge and telling them not to do that. And telling them that it's wrong. He's quoting other scriptures. He actually is quoting from Isaiah and Jeremiah, and he says, "And he taught, saying unto them, Is it not written, My house shall be called of all nations the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves." I'm getting the urge to read a little bit from Neville's book right now. This is the book called Feeling is the Secret, and the chapter is Prayer, chapter 3.
Prayer is an illusion of sleep which diminishes the impression of the outer world and renders the mind more receptive to suggestion from within. The mind in prayer is in a state of relaxation and receptivity akin to the feeling attained just before dropping off to sleep. Prayer is not so much what you ask for as how you prepare for its reception. Whatsoever things ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11:24.
We're also studying Florence Scoval Shinn, and she's talking about preparation as well. When I looked up this chapter, and so this is from the book The Secret Door to Success, chapter 3. And 5 of them were wise. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. From Matthew 25, 2-3. My subject is the parable of the wise and foolish virgins. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish.
They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
The parable teaches that true prayer means preparation. Jesus Christ said, "And all things whatsoever ye ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive." That was from Matthew 21:22. And then, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. And that's Mark 11:24. So I just kind of felt guided that I wanted to express that both of them talk about prayer and preparation.
When I look up their literature that's about this selection of verses. And so thinking about what we're allowing into our minds brings us into this verse 17.
And it just reminds me of this verse. You have made it a den of thieves, the house of prayer. Because we're thinking about our minds, and as we go into the night or as we set our intentions, like at any time, this could be a clear stage. It can be a empty vessel where we can receive our intuition. It can be the stage that we put all of our scripting and our visualizing and our new reality that we're focusing on, or it can just be a mess. All right, I appreciate this. Was a nice tangent, and I don't know, hopefully it helped you guys, and I liked it too. I thought it was kind of interesting thinking about the purpose of the temple and why Jesus used his authority to start saying, hey guys, you can't have a messy temple. And this was like putting himself on the road to the end of his life. This was how he was going to start getting attention and stirring everything up. The point is, they're really questioning his authority. And it brings me back to the chapter from last month, too, of I am that I am, and the question of authority. With that being said, let's continue on. So as they leave they've left that scene of the temple after he stirred everything up, and they go back the very next morning. Actually, we don't really know the time frame, as it tells me in Wikipedia. But when they get back to that fig tree that he had just cursed, it's all withered up. The fig tree has withered up into nothing, and the 12 apostles are astonished. They just can't believe it. How did you do this? And that's when Jesus says these words. I'll go ahead and read it right from there. Starting in verse 22. And Jesus answering saith unto them, have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. And when ye stand praying, forgive, if ye have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses. Okay. And I also want to go on and say that he said a very similar Matthew 17:20. And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. I'm going to get back to Neville's quote. It says, whatsoever things ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. The only condition required is that you believe that your prayers are already realized. Your prayer must be answered if you assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your objective. The moment you accept the wish as an accomplished fact, the subconscious mind means for its realization. To pray successfully, then, you must yield to the wish, that is, feel the wish fulfilled. The perfectly disciplined man is always in tune with the wish as an accomplished fact. He knows that consciousness is the one and only reality, that ideas and feelings are facts of consciousness and are as real as objects in space. Therefore, he never entertains a feeling which does not contribute to his happiness, for feelings are the causes of the actions and circumstances of his life. Okay. So Neville and Jesus, what they're teaching us in both of these words is just picture what you're wanting as the outcome, as an outcome that already is. And just go ahead, so the first one he's telling people over in Matthew, when he was saying it about the grain of mustard seed, he was helping. There was how devils get in people?
Sometimes in the Bible.
I forgot what they call that. He was casting out a devil out of a child, and the other apostles were trying to do the same thing, but they couldn't. So then they're like, how is it that you can and we can't? And so he explains to them that it's because he has faith. And he's just teaching them how to use faith and what it is. And here he is over here too, teaching them the way that you use your faith is by picturing it as it already is. Whatsoever things ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. I want to read a little bit more from the page from Florence's book, The Secret Door to Success. We might paraphrase the scriptures and say, when ye pray, believe ye have it. When ye pray, act as if you already received. Armchair faith, or rocking chair faith, will never move mountains. In the armchair, in the silence or meditation, you are filled with the wonder of this truth, and feel that your faith will never waver. You know that the Lord is your shepherd. You shall never want. You feel that your God of plenty will wipe out all burdens of debt or limitations. Then you leave your armchair and step out into the arena of life. It is only what you do in the arena that counts. And that's why I think that and leading into that, I want to point out that the scriptures are putting these verses together. So studying the New Revised Standard Version, which is the one that Neville preferred, the chapters have little subtitles, and they're all broken in to pieces, and so it breaks it up after verse 25, and then it starts into a new subject. But I just love that it does put verse 25 with it, where whenever ye stand praying, forgive, if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father in heaven may also forgive you your trespasses. If you've got... the way that I see this is another concept which is called pass the test, and it's discovered by Roxy Lee, or you can check out her channel, Roxy Talks Manifest Your Dreams, and look up especially the videos Pass the Test. But a brief description of what it means is when you look at your 3D reality after you've already intended what you wanted, and then maybe you don't get what you want yet, then you have to just pretend that it is. You forgive it. You just pretend that it is and go about your life and act as if you got exactly what you wanted. And that would be to pass the test. And for me, I think that would be forgiving my reality when I wake up and experience the same thing and it's not exactly what I want, but I just act as though it is and give it all the grace in the world and give it the congratulations and the acceptance and excitement and receive it as if I already got what I wanted. That might be why they put that verse right next to the others. If it could be possibly having to do with the concept of pass the test. I'm also inclined to include verse 26 with this lesson, and it says, "But if ye do not forgive, neither will your Father which is in heaven forgive your trespasses." It kind of made me think about how I've heard Ester Hicks when she's channeling. She'll say it's a non-judgmental universe. And another way to think about that is, I've heard of it described as a mirror. So if you... Okay, and come back with me over to Neville Goddard's interpretation that we are the conscious mind, and that's what Christ is. Christ is the conscious mind, and God is the unconscious. And so when you show the reflection to God and you say, oh, it's still not here, you show that to your unconscious, you show that to you show that to the mirror. Neither will your Father which is in heaven forgive your trespasses. If ye do not forgive, neither will your Father. But to reiterate, Jesus just says, have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, whatsoever thing you shall say, even unto this mountain. So we could be talking about a tiny fig tree. Our words have power to move the fig tree and make it wither up. Or we might be talking even about a mountain. Just as long as we talk about it, believing that these things shall come to pass, is what he says that the requirement is. I also want to highlight a little bit more of the theme of authority in this chapter. For example, Jesus had authority to borrow the horse, and then he had authority to curse the plant, the fig tree, and he had authority to clean out the temple from the people who were trying to make money off of it. And he says, whosoever shall say. And therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall receive them. And so the first principle is authority. The second is about having our minds be clean like temples. The third principle that we're finding in this chapter was having faith. Remember, you would want to say it as if it is. I'm laughing because it seems so simple. What if that's really... I'm beginning to believe that's really how it works. This is what Jesus was telling us. We need to use our words to describe things as if they are. It's not a matter of waiting on this God to give us something, but we need to start describing things the way that we would like them to be. When Neville quotes it in his book, he altered it just a bit like this. Whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe that you have received them. So, in other words, we don't say, Hosanna, which is please help us. We gotta say, thank you.
And the vibration and the frequency that we're trying to tune to is very clear. The law of attraction knows exactly where we want to be, not what we wish we, not all those things that my voice doesn't even want to explain all the other alternates. But you tune yourself to to the desired result, the end result.
So, 1, authority. 2, clean minds like a temple or an empty stage. 3, asking in faith as if it is so. And 4, I really think they put this because of the contexts. I think he was telling us that we need to be able to pass the test, forgive our reality the way that it shows up, and this is the final step of manifestation. I think that's why they included it in this chapter, right next to the explanations. His 12 apostles are asking, how did you do that? How did you change the fig tree? They were asking how to manifest, and Jesus was teaching them.
Well, I think that's everything that we have really for today, but I hope this can be useful, and maybe everybody can use it in your manifestation practice. Thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you again next month.
On my other channel, I'm collecting synchronicity experiences, hopefully from other people, and for now at least I'm sharing my synchronicity stories and collecting. I'm just going to collect a whole bunch of them, one right after the next. We'll be able to listen and hear these stories of, like, I'm thinking something, and then, whoa, there it is, right in my 3D reality. It popped up right after I was thinking it. Or, oh, I'm listening to it, and I'm looking at it. But my 3D just lines up so I get to see. So these kinds of experiences happen all the time. One of them already happened while I was reading and preparing for this lesson. I'll go ahead and explain this before I get to my more exciting point. So I was studying Florence Scoval Shinn,
Meaning that same page that I've been quoting from.
and she gets down and I'll just read this. I will give you an illustration showing how the law works. For faith without action is dead. A man, one of my students, had a great desire to go abroad. He took the statement, I give thanks for my divinely designed trip, divinely financed under grace, in a perfect way. He had very little money, but knowing the law of preparation, he bought a trunk. It was a very gay and happy trunk with a big red band around its waist. Whenever he looked at it, it gave him a realization of a trip. One day, he seemed to feel his room moving. He felt the motion of a ship. He went to the window to breathe the fresh air, and it smelled like the aroma of the docks. With his inner ear, he heard the shriek of a seagull and the cracking of the gangplank. The trunk had commenced to work. It had put him in the vibration of his trip. Soon after that, a large sum of money came to him, and he took the trip. He said afterwards that it was perfect in every detail. When I was reading this, I had a synchronicity because, as she said that he could hear the seagulls, I could actually hear seagulls. I'm in the habit of the same thing. I'm visualizing that I get to be on a ship and traveling. And so my YouTube channel just pretty much plays it every day. I'm in the habit of always playing a ship, and I could hear the seagulls. Also, the part about the room moving the day before, a couple of days earlier this week, I had felt like my room, whenever I'm sitting on the chair at my desk, I feel like my room is moving. So that really hit home. And just now I had another really fun experience. I can't believe this happened because the timing was fun. I thought I was finished recording this. I was done. And it was perfect timing as usual. I get to go to this live stream every Monday. I mean, everybody's invited. I go to Roxy Talks Manifest Your Dreams. And she does a mindset every Monday, and it always starts at different times. But very often, it'll just work out that when I'm ready to go, then it's perfect timing. And so in this time, I don't want to miss the beginning of her show either. But I felt like I had really wrapped it up, and I was done with writing this whole lesson. So anyway, I go to the thing, and we're just studying. It always has to do with manifestation. And she always gives us a homework. And I have a reputation for being
really enthusiastic about the homework. I really appreciate that she channels an assignment for us every week, and I show up and share my experience in the live stream often.
Another thing about me is I volunteered to be the person that holds the energetic space for them, and I always feel like a telepathic communication.
So I feel like that might be part of why this happened too.
So what happened was, for the homework, she chose that it would be what immovable mountains are in your way. And we're supposed to do a journal entry about what they are and why it's benefiting us to have those mountains there, and then dismantle them. So clearly that's my homework, and that's how synchronicity has been working, showing me more and more that we're creating our reality with our minds. I was thinking about moving mountains all day.
Well, working on recording and putting together this lesson all day, but all month I've been thinking about the theme.
And then I showed up to the place that I have a commitment to be, to do the thing I find interesting, the homework. It's on my subject.
Thanks for letting me share my experiences. All these little details just give us more clarity and help us understand what we're doing here as creators and manifestors. If you feel like discovering more of those synchronicity experiences might be in alignment with your spiritual journey too, come check me out on my art channel, Create with Shantae. I just really want to thank you guys for listening, and I love the messages that we're unfolding here in these verses of scripture. Bye.